For fans of chip tuning, there is good news. The 935 gasoline engine is strangled for the benefit of environmental standards, as well as to reduce customs and tax burdens. Therefore, the claimed 150 horsepower, after competent firmware ECUs, can easily turn into 170, or even more. The increase in engine thrust is, to put it mildly, palpable. As for gas distribution, the thermal clearances of the valves are subject to adjustment every 100,000 kilometers. Cases of malfunction of the intake shaft phase regulators are systematic, but very rare. The use of high-quality consumables and fluids is the best prevention against possible problems. Oil leaks are much more common, though they are eliminated, of course, not so painfully. It is obvious that the behemoth diesel suits, and there are practically no problems with it. The only weak point that the owners noted is the crankshaft pulley, which dilutes the engine, chirping with additional ringing. The disease is treated quite simply, replacing the part with a new one. Transmission. With the transmission line, the manufacturers were not wiser, allowing the potential owner to choose between a mechanical 5-speed manual transmission and a 6-speed automatic. There are no robots, CVTs, like some competitors have. A slight bewilderment can only be caused by automatic transmission, in which untimely gear shifting is treated by flashing the control unit. And in very rare cases, the gearbox selector position sensor fails. With a manual gearbox, there are usually no problems at all, but here, just like with an automatic and a rear gearbox, it is recommended to change the oil every 100,000, even if the official dealer advises not to fool yourself about this. The 935's automatically connected all-wheel drive is implemented by means of an electronically controlled clutch, so our behemoth does not like long mud baths and deep fords. You will be very lucky if you just get stuck and temporarily left alone with the shovel and a front-wheel drive car due to overheating of the device. In the worst case, after the end of the off-road adventure, you will have to change an expensive node. On machines since 2011, cases of overheating are much less common, since the manufacturer determined an electro-hydraulic coupling to connect the rear legs, which added a couple of other sores to the outpatient cart of the behemoth. While doing some sort of used car research in parallel with journalism, we found that 2 of the 7 935s we tested had issues with the 4WD system. Disabling the rear axle, accompanied by the appearance of errors 1822 and 1830, indicates a malfunction of the clutch electric pump. There can be several reasons for the occurrence, either oxidized contacts or dirt entering through the anther. The second scenario is the most dangerous, since it often becomes too late to clean something. Another weak point of the 935 transmission is the right front-wheel drive intermediate shaft. The culprit is dirt again, although the engineers, of course, sinned, who did not protect the prom valve from the aggressive environment on either side. That is, both the spline connection and the shaft outboard bearing can fly, which can lead to the drive falling out of the connection. Yes, it happened. Many will agree that the 935 looks heavier than it actually is. A modest 1.5 tons, and the characteristics suggest that this is just self-hypnosis. However, by 100,000 kilometers, the rear of the behemoth sags so that the circumference of the wheels begins to equal the arches, and the standard springs have to be changed to reinforce ones. Suspension. In general, the suspension of the 935 is not weak. The stabilizer struts take care of 50 to 70,000 kilometers without knocking. Shock absorbers usually do not give up before 100,000 kilometers on the odometer. It's not worth planning a major overhaul of the chassis at all if the car has not yet traveled 150 to 170,000 kilometers. True, a lot, of course, will depend on your driving style and hearing acuity. Acoustic pickiness can play a trick on you. Very often, the owners of the behemoth repaired an absolutely serviceable suspension. They changed shock absorbers, levers, and so on, when they did not want to put up with the inherent boominess of the chassis. It happens that without a shaker and a mount, it is difficult to distinguish where the chassis is muttering simply because it is, and where it requires replacement parts. When knocks appear, it will not be superfluous to check the fastening of the shock absorber strikers. In this model, they often fly off and ask back to the top of the rod. Insulation to help you. As in the case of Solaris, the 935 of the first years was equipped with weak, if not defective, steering tips. Dealers usually exchange them for reinforced ones from another supplier without any problems. Steering. As we have already said, swimming in deep puddles of the behemoth is contraindicated, since the above problems with the transmission can be accompanied by an expensive repair of the steering rack, which is poorly protected from water ingress. No matter how much I had to deal with the behemoth, each time my eyes stumbled on the seat cushions that had sat out and burst on the side. Often these were seats that had already been changed once under warranty. What happens to them after 100,000 kilometers is scary to imagine. The manufacturer did not conduct a recall campaign, and all that is offered by the owners to solve the problem is to lose weight and fidget less. But for an extraordinary replacement of the rear parking sensors, dealers invited them to their place. The only pity is that they did not carry out an additional revision of the elements of the rear view camera. She turned out to be too unstable to road salts, which is why she had to clean and restore contacts on her own. Brake system. Failure of the brake pedal limit switch sometimes led to unexpected consequences. The most successful outcome of events occurs in machines with an automatic. In this case, you will not even be able to turn on drive. As you understand, the worst thing happens when the already non-burning stop lamps are broken by a bumper behind a moving car. Given the relative budget of the interior, extraneous sounds in the 935 cabin are normal. The owner's ears are usually disturbed by the whistle of the stove fan. Then, crickets from the armrest are connected to the symphony, and then the center console with the glove box. When large-scale gluing the interior, do not use excessive force so as not to break the plastic. What can we say? Air duct deflectors sometimes burst in the cold just when trying to direct the flow. Body. The body and paintwork of the 935 do an excellent job with everyday life, so even not very caring owners manage to keep the original appearance of the car for a long time. Neither scratches nor deep chips down to the metal will cause the behemoth's steel armor to corrode. But non-standard tasks like diagonal hangings and other loads on the load-bearing structure are painful for the 935. Moreover, the lack of rigidity can not only be heard and seen, but also felt. Moans of the body, displaced gaps, and poorly closing doors will tell you that you are too carried away conquering obstacles. When buying a 2 to 3-year-old car, do not flatter yourself with the 5-year warranty. Sellers often refer to this when selling. Supposedly all faults can be fixed for free. Firstly, according to a long marketing tradition, Hyundai/Kia gives a 5-year warranty only for some elements of the engine and gearbox. All other components are subject to restrictions, which are often found out only after a breakdown. Secondly, the malfunctions with which you purchase a car may be caused by a violation of operation, and only an authorized dealer can give a conclusion on this matter. Total. In general, the Hyundai 935 is a car that you can buy on the secondary market without much fear, even with a mileage of more than 100,000 kilometers. But at the same time, a lot needs to be taken into account, especially if you want to purchase an all-wheel drive option, because, for example, a faulty clutch can result in a very expensive repair. Do not forget to check and exclude other weak points, too. Only a carefully selected behemoth will be able to please for a long time with city walks and long-distance forays into moderate impassability. By the way, the 935 recently had a new generation, which was returned to its former name Tucson. In general, welcome back, Jerboa. We'll be waiting for news from you.